Nick Sparks back again, and from a quick break, and we had a quick few jokes passed in there, man. So we're talking about all this stuff, but you had said to me once that you really feel that when guys work with you, it's like, man, you just need a workshop. You need, or when they take a workshop with you, you just need some time to work with you. Get some skills in there. Get a little bit of follow-up, but that's generally all they need. And so when guys work with you, they tend to get a very specific result of, this Nick Sparks-esque kind of way of like relaxed and just like, okay, yeah, I'm not worried about all this like, head cheese jumble of, overthought pickup stuff, and I can just kind of exist in this social element. What happens, what's your workflow when you work with guys?
Well, I mean, first of all, it was sad seeing guys investing like years of their lives, thousands upon thousands of dollars, and then just being right in the exact same position they started in when they were looking to improve this, starting to
sometimes worse.
Sometimes worse.
It's frustrating. Yeah.
Absolutely. I've said, some of my toughest cases are guys who have really been entrenched in some negative stuff out there, and so I needed to. I didn't want to be just another thing that they went through. And so I guess if there's a secret to what I'm doing, it's one, just giving the basic skills, because it's not some complicated thing that they're always feeling like I'm missing some other part or I got to lump some more information. Just giving the basics of what really constitutes great interactions. Making sure that they have the essential skill set and they're not missing anything on that end, making sure they understand that this is what they need and they can create all the great interactions they want from these basic things. And then just kind of hammering home like mindsets throughout the entire time that we're together. 4 days of me, they're getting tired, they're wearing themselves out, and if I'm just constantly like hitting them over the head with the same message, it kind of can start to re-trigger. And so, a big message is just that, there's going to be some people that just aren't in the mood to socialize, that just aren't going to be looking for any romantic connection in their life for whatever reason, that this isn't about, there's a person, how do I get them, which is ridiculous. It's like saying it's cloudy, what dance can I do to, make the sun come out right now? Human beings are that uncontrollable, essentially. And so just kind of shifting the focus of what this is not supposed to be, the message that so many other people promote as, this is what it is and this is what you're going to get, to saying that's not what it's about, and just kind of promoting, and then also the stuff that I teach, it's very much centered around real connection, really enjoying the company of people, whether it's going to be romantic or not. And I mean, at the end of the day, I think that a lot of guys come in thinking that they just want more sex. But what's really going on, and I can relate to this in my own life, is they're kind of hungry for a deeper connection with other human beings, with people.
Yeah, because you bring up something really interesting, or you're bringing stuff up and I'm thinking about myself, and sometimes if I talk about myself all the time, because I'm always in my head, I know it, but you really have a different philosophy going into this. I mean, I'm sure you've worked on other people's boot camps and kind of seen how they do it, but you're really coming from this place of like, hey, no, let's normally talk. Like if you get rejected, it's not a rejection, it's this experience. So what do you say to a guy if it's like, no, what are the 3 things I need to say? If I'm coming to you and saying like, well, how do I approach? Give me 3 things that I can do.
I'm saying it's that mindset that's just creating this cycle of like misery and failure and frustration that you're getting in. That it's not about that. If you're looking for that, you're going to be looking for the rest of your life, and you're never going to get anywhere.
Right.
It's like, what do you want? Do you want the top 3 things to say, or do you want to be happy? And then some guys are like, nope, I still want the top 2 things to say.
Yeah. Like when you're so frustrated, I mean, when you're in pain and you can't see beyond that. So with a guy like that, you just say, hey, man, relax and go work on yourself, or?
Say, there's going to be other people out there that I think will really be more what you're looking for right now. And earlier on in my career, well, before I had developed as a coach and before I even had this track record, it was more difficult for guys to see that, believe, like, I don't want that crap. Yeah. Like, oh yeah, connecting, like, all right, that sounds cute, but after people have worked with me for years and years, and the people read the testimonials, and they're like, well, crap, like, I do want that. That sounds pretty good.
And the other thing too is anybody who's actually having sex or like has a sex life, right? Like, so you're actively interacting with women, you have friends, like if you have those things in your life, and we're laughing about it, but it's like, God, you do value the connection. I mean, that's it. It's like if you're not having that, because having bad sex sucks. It's worse.
We both know.
Yeah,
and there's plenty of guys who have gotten more lays and are more miserable than before especially because this thing that they think they're going to bring them this happiness, thing they've been banking on, all of a sudden doesn't. It's like, well, crap, where do I go from here?
Yeah, the first, so I'd of course heard about you at the conventions, all that sort of stuff, but there's so many instructors, and you just it's overwhelming, especially at the bigger conventions when it's just too much, and it's just like, God. Anyway, the thing is that I remember I was talking to somebody about sex, and he had worked with you. He was like, man, this is the same thing that Nick was talking about. This was years ago, and I was like, shit, Nick must be up to something, And I think I had messaged you like shortly afterwards. It's like, hey man, this guy. He was saying this and that, like props, and then just slowly, some relationship build, and then you moved to Austin, very recently. But your journey with sex and discovering that for yourself and finding out what's good, and for me, it's a constant journey. I mean,
I'm still my biggest project.
Yeah. And that touches on even another thing, like why we're coaches. It's like, but man, what was that? What is bad sex? Or I hear you throw out the word, sex addiction or getting into like some sort of sexual unhappiness. Like, what is that? Like, where do you see that? Where do you see that with other people or yourself or the world in general?
Figuring this out for myself, bad sex, like things that make me like feel crappier, is basically sex with people that I don't really enjoy the company of.
Yeah.
When I've got to act in a different way that, they like me and I know how to be attractive, but at the end of the day, it's like, okay, well, you sleep with the person and that's done. And then it's like, then you can actually look at them as a real human being and say, well, wait, I don't actually enjoy spending time with you whatsoever. I was just kind of tricking myself into thinking that I enjoyed your company just because I had this desire for sex. And so that's what I would refer to as sexual addiction, when you're putting that need first and ignoring everything else. So a process that's been for me is to look and say, before I sleep with them, am I tricking myself into thinking I'm enjoying their company? Am I subconsciously but I don't really trying to look at a person as if I had just slept with them to say, okay, do I really like hanging out with this person? Do our personalities actually really mesh? And then if you got that and you've got that deeper place it's coming from, the sex is awesome. But if you don't, it's kind of like, you wake up the next day and you feel like crap.
Yeah. There was a point in the convention, there were a lot of females at this convention, which was actually very cool, but there was a point where it was like there was a girl there, and I was just like, fuck.
Yes.
You can't think beyond.
We may or may not have talked about this a little bit. Yeah.
No, I don't think we did. But there was a point where it was like, fuck. And this is what you got to understand. Like, people are like, how do I get rid of the fear? You have the fear. Yeah. I would not have known what to say, but this was one of the few girls where you're inspired to do the whole direct thing. I don't believe in categorizations of game, but it's like, I really couldn't say anything other than you're hot. I'm gonna fucking talk. Stand in front of me.
I usually let my intention known with my eye contact.
That's the best way, man, because we're, especially sexually, I think the closer we can get, even if we're not physically close, but the closer humanly we can get, people feel that. And sex is not determined by do you like me? Yes. It's this other language that's happening with subcommunications and feelings. And
women here I was attracted to knew I was attracted to them, even though our conversation.
Yeah, actually, I've seen the animal come out, man. It's and plus and this is another thing. I was talking to this guy, John. Man, you should meet him. he was not at the convention, John Lichtenberg, but he's one of the few guys that I'm like in awe listening to him about sex, but he has sex with everybody. He's one of the few guys where this is his lifestyle. You know, it's not like he didn't become polyamorous because it's cool and in some sexual deficit and I want to do that. Like, he's made it a life, right? But he's like, you know, if I'm friends with somebody, I don't really know them if I don't know their sexual side. You know, if I haven't experienced that. And you put that out there, man. You're like, yeah, I saw you with the like, but everybody has a different style, right? But I'll get like super aggressive. But
yeah, you do.
That being said, man, you haven't even seen it.
I know. You hold back, baby. And
yeah. Maria's here, and it's
amazing.
And I'll get killed.
You will, literally. You're not joking.
Yeah. No, it's pretty vicious, dude.
Strong woman. It's what you
Yeah. But also, I'd even say to that, like, she's had just as much experience as me, so there's no, I mean, jealousy happens. We'll get there, but like she's gotten a lot out of her system, and myself too. But no, we saw this woman, and you're like, holy shit, fuck. Like, see, even now thinking about it, I can't think because it was like it's just too much. But that being said, when I see a hot woman like that, the next thing I know, and you're kind of talking about this wisdom of like, don't have bad sex, is how can I see her? Like, how can I see her sexuality to see if I like it? You know, it doesn't necessarily have to be her emotion, but that could be part of it. But how can I see what she's about? And if I can't get that, then it cuts, you know?
That's where, like I said, I'm still a work in progress.
No, but how do you
talk about the ideal thing of you know, needing to really enjoy their company, but then something like that happens, and like it's very, very hard to keep that in mind. It's like, I just want to be next to her.
Yeah. We're all like subdued and in this like fucking. But okay, one thing here. How do you see that process? You know, like of getting to feel her, to know, because I'll tell you this: if you get to a point where you get that arousing urge and it's overwhelming to you, it's not that you don't want to act on it. It's that you want to see how that action is going to happen. And actually, let's get back to this question after this quick break.
Yeah.